tap. I just wrote to Joe. I'm not going to call 911. Just going to let myself go. I don't give a fuck anyway. Nobody but Joe, and he's too far away. See? Earlier, I was choking on my own spit, crying, leaving a voicemail for the one that I thought would come through for me, because she always has. I don't even know her very well, but she has too much on her plate right now. And the fact is, I'm begging my mother's church people for help. I'm desperate. Okay? What this place is doing to me is morally reprehensible. I don't give a fuck how legal it is. And the fact that I sat there with that director and was telling her everything that bitch I'd never met in my life did to me in front of my mother, they wanted to throw my mother out last week. I'm led to believe up front my mom's gonna be in there just like before for like 90 days. But I sure as fuck, even if it wasn't gonna be 90 days, it's not gonna be a little over 4 fucking weeks. She just got in there. Such evil. The director. She didn't have the authority to do that. We only have to give you 3 days. She did nothing wrong, that bitch. And the one who was human miraculously. How do you do that? Christmas Eve, you tell me my mother has to be out Friday? Like, what the goddamn fuck? My mother fell in there the day before that woman was telling me on Christmas Eve my mother had to be out Friday. So cruel, so cold, like it's my fault my mom started acting up. I can't. And remember when I didn't back down? Then she goes, oh, she's so cruel, so cruel. Thank God I didn't have. If I had had that bitch all along, this would have been going on last week instead of this week. All they care about is the fucking bottom line. That's it. They're just pieces of me. We're not human, either me or my mother. I'll go call so-and-so, oh, like that. And she came back, well, she said she'll talk to you Thursday, and next week, but it's just evil. But then when I told the director, she's like, said about the other one, she didn't have the authority to do that. We're just nothing. It's so sick. But my mother's church people aren't coming through for me. Remember, my mother cannot be left alone. She cannot be left alone. How am I going to get her fucking meds? I just needed a church person to step up to the plate and take me to get my mother, and then we get her meds too, and then I'll never leave this house again until we sell it. From every imaginable direction, it's coming at me. I'm like, there's no way out. What the hell am I supposed to do? And then one of the church people I've known forever is suggesting that I contact a church of strangers. Oh, so you people who have known me and my mom forever aren't going to help me, and you think strangers will. Give me a fucking break. That's the most idiotic suggestion. Even if you can't help me because you're working or whatnot, you could reach out to other people in your church who are not going to respond to me because they don't know, you know what I mean? But they won't. Everyone wants to pass the buck, that's all. if something happens to me, oh, they'll be so sad. I begged you for help. I'm in a state of desperation. I begged you. I begged you. This isn't, oh, give me a favor and it's okay if you say no. I fucking begged all of you. And then I have my child mom crying to me. She can't stand the food because she's on a salt restrictive diet. There's nothing I can do, Mom. And then I had her crying to me today, and this is something I can do, but I'm still not there. And just as an aside, I have gone to visit my mother, who's crying to me that her night light not working. She means the call light, right? She tells these motherfuckers her call light's not working. And they ignore her. I went in there one time when my mom's crying to me, her call light's not working, and I tested it and she was right, it wasn't working, but they ignore her. So today, I couldn't get to where she was. There was dead air, whatever, okay? Probably because it's a holiday, they could be understaffed or whatever. So I talked to the front desk person and I said, look, my mother's I'm on my one phone. My mother's on the other phone. She's crying to me that her call light's not working, and they don't pay any attention to her when she cries that her call light's not working. And she told me that because they're ignoring her and they don't pay attention. She knows that she can tell. The way she's situated, she can actually tell. Okay? I didn't know this either. She can tell if it's working or not. It lights up where she can see it, so she knows. She knows it's not working. She tells them, and they just ignore her. She went to the bathroom on her own when she's not supposed to do, just like she did in that other place. Remember, she kept doing that? She didn't want to go poo-poo in her pants, and nobody would help her, and she says, my call light. You know what I mean? I told the front desk person, I said, look, you put me through there, nobody's answering. This is elder abuse. If my mother's call light's broken and the staff's ignoring her when she says it's broken, you know what I mean? She also, again, I came in on Christmas Eve, treated like shit by the stranger I'd never met in my life, I know was pissed off, because she's evil! So is the director. They're all evil. She was pissed off. She came back. Oh, she says she'll talk to you Thursday. Her colleague, the one I've been working with from day one, thank God. I didn't even know this one existed, and she's just blaming me. It's my fault my mom started acting up at Christmas because she wants to come home, and they don't want to deal with it. We're not a mental facility. Your mother's severely cognitive decline, and she needs to be out of here now, and oh my God. Like when I first got in, before I'd even got to my mom's room, the nurse, remember I brought my mom that phone that day against my better judgment, but I'm glad I did, even though she leaves me 50 zillion messages and she calls early at 7 and 7:30 in the morning, whatever, but at least it gives her that she can reach out. But I wrote out all her numbers. I also put contacts in. I said, if you want to call people, have the aides help you, have the nurses help you. She lost her list of numbers, and then she's still not calling anybody. Like, she's just calling me, but whatever, it makes her feel like she can cry to me. I know salt, this food sucks, I hate it here, but at least it gives her something. Because she can leave me endless messages and not feel alone, whereas when she couldn't use her room phone, she had to have them dial, and they're not going to dial anybody endlessly, and they would never dial out to friends, only to the invoked healthcare proxy daughter. My mother, I know my mom fell. She gave details. You can't just say, oh, she's confused. She knows if she fell or not. She doesn't have advanced dementia. She has mental illness. And now you want her out of there when she just got in there. But, But, of course, when the appeal people are just going to look at the medical records And the medical records are going to show that my mom's acting up in mental illness, and also that she's improved greatly, and they don't feel she's going to improve anymore with further time, and that's it. I know I'm going to lose the appeal, but I'm begging her church people for help. My God, just get my mother home for me. Let me get the meds like we did last time around. The last time around I got to pick the day. Last time around, Churchwoman went on a day she could go. We picked the day. It wasn't just me or my mom being thrown out. This is unbelievable. I have zero faith I'm going to win the appeal because I'm trapped in hell, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Choking up my own spit, crying to the one who I thought would come through for me, even though I don't know her very well, because she has gone through for me. She's the one who got me to the stupid jury duty so I wouldn't have to rely on a taxi that might not show up. She did other things for me. She picked me up one time when I was straight. I don't know her, but she's really come through for me, and now she can't. And no one else is stepping up to the plate. I'm trapped in a living fucking nightmare. My mom crying to me. But I did say, you need to go up there and check personally. And I took her name and see if my mom's call light's working. It's elder abuse. If my mother says her call light is not working, you can't just ignore her. And then she doesn't have anyone to help her, and she's not going to shit her pants. She's going to risk her own life and go to the bathroom on her own. But she tried to do the call light, and you're ignoring her. It's elder abuse. No one gives a fuck truly about either of us. It won't surprise me, like I've been saying. The universe just gets both of us in one fell swoop. Like, seriously. I keep fighting and fighting and fighting for what? For what? Every time I think something's gonna be good, like me fighting and fighting to get my mom into this high-rated facility, where I certainly didn't think she'd be kicked out, you know. They wanted to do it again last week. They wanted to, think about it, Christmas Eve was the 24th, my mom went in on November 22nd. So they wanted to kick her out last week. If I had that awful social worker from day one instead of this good one who has some kind of human left in her, my mom, I would have been going through all this Christmas Eve week instead of New Year's Eve week, you know? It's just repulsive. It's morally reprehensible. They don't care if it's legal. It's disgusting. We only have to give you 3 days. Go fuck yourself, cunt. There's such a thing as verbal honor or verbal whatever, you know? But again, it's all because my mom started acting up. They can say whatever they want. The true colors came out in the one I never met, or her, we're not a mental facility, and your mother's cognitive decline, and we have strict criteria we have to follow, and your mom's not meeting up. You know what I mean? It's just all bullshit. She's causing trouble. You want her out of there, and that's it. After on the 12th, I was told we were going to revisit this in a few weeks with the nice one, and when we had the family meeting, and, you know. state of shock. All these people need to talk to me. It means I have to leave my fucking phones. Remember, it's 2 now on. And my mom calls early in the morning, but I won't answer it if she calls. But it will wake me up, see? I won't answer it. I'm never going to talk to my mom that early. And if she miraculously doesn't call me and other people do, maybe they won't be calling me that early. Still could end up waking me up because I don't sleep at all anymore. I don't sleep good. I don't eat good. I'm not doing anything good for myself. And this were happening, if this were happening a couple of weeks from now, I'd be perfectly fine with it. It was supposed to be, we're gonna have another family meeting in a few weeks, and then we'll revisit all of this. Your mom doesn't have a discharge date, and then suddenly, out of the blue, Christmas Eve, your mom needs to be out of here now. Nobody gives a fuck about me, about my mom. No one gives a fuck. Joe more than gives a fuck. Joe is in no position to help. He's not here. Nobody else gives a fuck. I learned my lesson. I fully accepted that I was never anything but shit and never gonna be anything but shit. I just wanted to get my mother and me to Joe's. Yeah, my mom leaves me endless voicemails. And she speaks the entire time, it lets you, and she's just there, and she can't even understand what she's saying. But she feels like, sometimes I can understand her good. I hate the food, she call it the nightlight. My nightlight's broken, Laura, and nobody will listen to me when I tell them it's broken. No, Mom, sorry. Assholes. couldn't do anything to myself. In a state of fucking numbness and this abhorrent to me existence. If something happens to me that's not caused, if I have a heart, I'm just gonna let myself go. Already decided. Don't even have a way to get my mother home. The director's sitting there and saying, Medicare doesn't pay for, they only pay for ambulance, and that's only from a hospital. Yeah, right, whatever. She came home from a nursing home a few years ago, and we didn't pay a fucking penny. It went through the fucking Medicare insurance. It went through the insurance. We didn't pay a fucking penny. You think I've lived with her forever? You think I know? We don't pay. And one time we got a fucking bill. I vowed, well, I will never pay that bill because that was from a mental hospital. It was from a regular hospital where she was in a mental part of it. And I said to them, make sure you put the ride home through her insurance. We don't pay. We never pay. And I go and get a bill for like $900. And meanwhile, 2 days after my mom came home on the thing that they sent her home on, after I told them put it through her insurance, and she's fighting for her life in the hospital. She came home sicker than I'd ever seen her in her life. So while I'm getting a fucking bill, and I scribbled all over it when I got it, and I continue to get them. Now I don't get them anymore. They probably wrote it off. I don't care. I don't feel guilty. I told Joe, I don't care. It's not my problem. The hospital works with them. They should cover it. But of course they won't, but I'm just saying. And now this place wants to send her home in a chairlift. Her stuff will end up getting left behind, I can guarantee you. And we'll get another bill for like $1,000 or something. Who knows if it winds up being in the same company. I'm not saying it would, but if it did, we'd be blacklisted and they wouldn't show up to get my mom anyway. You know what I mean? It's just all fucked. I needed somebody from my mother's church to care enough to step up to the plate to do this for me. I won't be leaving the house after this. I can't go to my dentist appointment. I can't leave the house at all. I will not leave my mother alone. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if I leave my mother alone and she falls again? Can you guys even fathom if that happened? There's no fucking way I'll leave my mother alone. I needed someone from her church to step up to the plate and take me to get her and get her meds since I don't drive. I wouldn't be going through anything like this. Low position. She can't have the medical bed. You didn't tell me you were even putting it through. Because you probably forgot all about it or something. Who knows? It wasn't put through until... But then I found out it couldn't be put through until she was discharged. I thought I could find out ahead of time. But I'm like, but you didn't communicate with me. Had you done that, you'd know we have a big fucking bed in her room. I can't snap my fingers and have it gone, especially around the holidays. I can't even find a fucking person to take me to get her. And get her meds. So then I can have my prison. I can be here and stay here and that will be it. just in hell. I say to the director that, about the wheelchair. I told the social worker weeks ago we needed a wheelchair script put through. By the time she got out, I didn't know she'd be getting out so fucking soon. I never fathomed it. But I'm in hell, so of course this is going to happen to me. Right? But then she looks at me and says, we're not responsible for medical equipment, you fucking ignorant cunt. I understand you're not responsible for medical equipment, but you are if your social worker knew weeks ago and dropped the ball. You cannot send my mother home when we don't have a fucking wheelchair for her. I don't know, my common sense tells me that would be an unsafe discharge, but maybe because here in the Twilight Zone nightmare hell, maybe it wouldn't be. We're not responsible for medical equipment, but I'll see what I can do. You're not some independent agency. You have to follow Medicare guidelines and rules. You can't just treat us like a piece of garbage. Like you can just, You could if you're just your own independent agency that you made your own fucking rules and it wasn't meant, you know what I mean? But they can't, sickening. That told me and Joe all we needed to know when that bitch said that. She didn't care how that one treated me on Christmas Eve. Oh, we only have to give you 3 days. She didn't do anything wrong. Just cold. But then we are not responsible for medical equipment. You are if you gave me your word and I told you weeks ago. You fucking ignorant fucking cunt! My mother and I are human. We're not just pieces of whatever, I can't believe this is happening. Again, I'm all alone. The woman who usually helps me, there's got to be someone that can help you. Somebody. No, you don't understand. I've only known you very briefly, and you've been a godsend to me, a saint. You didn't have to help me at all with anything. I don't have any friends but Joe. That was her thing. There's got to be someone that can help you. Somebody you or your mother have been good to. No, we have nobody. Texted back. There is nobody. I have nobody.